Hello, welcome in everybody. Welcome to True Crime Tales, where we delve into the dark and often disturbing true stories that have shocked communities and the world. I'm your host, Pinky,
And I'm Tasia Renee.
and today we will dive into a case that shook the media to its core. This is the tragic story of Travis Alexander, a man whose life was brutally cut short in a senseless act of violence. So join me as we explore Travis Alexander's story, the details of that tragic evening, and the aftermath that continues to send shockwaves through the media. This is True Crime Tales, and here is the harrowing tale of Travis Alexander.
A successful and handsome young businessman is found brutally murdered in his shower, shot and stabbed with a viciousness investigators had never seen before.
The way the victim had been attacked, it was awful.
The unlikely suspect, a pretty young ex-girlfriend who took romantic obsession to a whole new level.
Who's Lisa?
She's just a friend, relax.
Is this from that psycho girl Jody?
You use me? You disrespect me?
I've been honest with you from the beginning.
How many are there, Travis?
A woman whose attraction knew no bounds.
She would just do anything she could to try and get Travis to love her.
The texts, the emails, the phone calls. Jody was addicted to everything about Travis.
You're never going to be a part of my life.
And whose brutal crime shocked an entire nation.
Oh man, how are you feeling about this so far, girl?
Man, when I tell you, this was a case that, when you first brought it to me, I was like, wait a minute, I don't think I remember that, but if you're a true crime girly, you know for the names. But this one in particular stuck out to me because she was just crazy, absolutely insane. And we're gonna get into that, but so far, the quick thing, I'm like, it's a whole lot of stories about Jody.
Yes, it is. She got all these docu-series, all these, and it's crazy because it's like they shine more light on her than the actual victim.
Exactly. That's what I do.
But they do that with a lot of serial killers. It ain't just her. You know what I'm saying? They do that with a lot of serial killers.
Was she
she's not a serial killer, but they do that with a lot of murderers. Okay. They just push them in the media it's crazy. But so we're gonna get into Travis. This is Travis Alexander. So while this picture is up, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you a little bit about Travis. Travis Alexander was a decent and religious 30-year-old from Riverside, California. He comes from a Mormon home, but his life wasn't always nice. His parents were drug addicts and very abusive until his grandma took custody of him at the age of 10 years old. He grew up to be a salesman for a Mormon company and moved to Mesa, Arizona to start a better life. And that's where he met Jody. So Jody, I know, right? Look at her. She's not even
so pretty. This is crazy.
Exactly. Jody Arias was born on July 9th, 1980 in Salinas, California. She comes from a good middle-class family and her father owned a restaurant. She was a straight-A student until the 8th grade when she started to hang out with bad people or the wrong crowd and started growing weed in her backyard. Her father called the police on her for growing weed and she was arrested, which caused her to have problems with her parents. So with Alexander, his parents were drug addicts and they were abusive. The mom, I guess, would leave him at home with his little sister and not feed him and stuff like that. So finally, I guess the grandma got wind of what was going on and she decided to come along and just, take custody of her grandkids. And by doing that, she was like, look, I'm a Mormon. We're strictly Mormon in here. You're going to have to, this is how I'm going to raise you. So he became a devout Mormon and stuff like that. And he loves it. He loves being a Mormon. He doesn't have a problem being a Mormon. That's something that he's been doing with his family for a long time, with his grandma and stuff like that. He loves it. He even started at some company called Prepaid. It was called Prepaid Legal Services. I don't exactly know what that is, but apparently he was like a salesman or something like that there. And it wasn't like specifically a Mormon company. It was just more of a lot of Mormons worked there. Right. So it was like a little Mormon community that worked at this place. So he felt
like where he lived at, it was like a community of like Mormons.
Yeah. So he worked with Mormons, lived around Mormons, went to the Mormon church, all that stuff. And keep that in mind that he's religious, because that also plays an important part in this case. So, and then now Jodi, she kind of has the opposite upbringing. She doesn't have drug addicts as parents. Her parents are together. She lives in a 2-parent household. The father owns a restaurant. They're a middle-class family. It seems like they're a pretty good family. And she was even a good student. She was a straight A student. She was a good kid, a good big sister, all those things, except until the 8th grade. I guess she started hanging around bad people. She started smoking and growing weed. And that's crazy because it's like, it's one thing to start smoking weed, but you started growing it.
Like when I heard that, I'm like, you was growing weed?
In the 8th grade? I was like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess. So, her dad did call the laws on her, which I thought was pretty crazy. But I guess he's that strict. Called the laws on her. She got arrested and went to juvie for a little bit. And that obviously caused her to have issues with her mom and dad, specifically her dad. But you know how that goes. So, but he moves. Travis Alexander moves to Mesa, Arizona. And he buys himself a 5-bedroom house, all this stuff. Like he's living his best life right now. And he has one of the prepaid legal service conferences in Las Vegas. So he goes to Las Vegas for the conference. He's there with some of his coworkers that are now his best friends. You know what I'm saying? They all Mormons. Right. But this is where like changes for Travis. Like everything about him screams, I'm a great man, I'm a great religious man, I'm a Mormon, this, that, and the third. But it's almost like he's living a double life, kind of. Yeah. Like he's in Vegas, but he's dancing with strippers and stuff like that. Like he's living his best life, doing stuff that Mormons shouldn't be doing. You know what I'm saying? And then he meets Jodi at that conference. He meets Jodi, and like his friends introduce him to Jodi, and then they hit it off. But it's only sexual between them, and she's not Mormon, so it's kind of like they can only be so serious because he's not going to be with her anyway because she's not Mormon. I guess in the Mormon faith, I know in a Mormon faith, when you marry, it has to be another Mormon that you marry.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? So Travis and Jodi meet in September of 2006 at the Prepaid Legal Services Conference in Las Vegas. They were for some months, they were just having sex and stuff like that. And she started to meet some of his friends, but he wasn't really trying to introduce her to everybody because he knew that.
Kind of like forcing it.
Yeah, she was like forcing him to like show his friends who she is and introduce her to everybody. But he's kind of like, dang, girl, I'm only trying to have sex with you. I'm not.
Right. Like,
you do all that. What? Yeah, exactly. Like, you kind of doing too much, girl. Like, but she's like falling in love. She's like, she's willing to do whatever. Like, before she even met him, first of all, as you can tell, she's not a natural blonde. She's a brunette. But before she went out there to Vegas, obviously she didn't know she was going to be meeting him. But it was kind of like she was, in her mind, she was making a fresh start. She was getting away from her parents, stuff like that. She just, you know what I'm saying? She was only, I think, 26 years old when she met him. Yeah. So she was just like, she dyed her hair blonde. She was like, I'm about to go to Vegas. I'm about to turn up. And she meets him. So he is thinking like, oh, she has this perfect body. Like she sends me nudes. And that's another thing. They're taking this to a whole nother, they sending each other nudes. They're sexting. They're having
with the pictures. That's important too.
That's important too with the pictures. So make sure y'all remember that they like to take pictures of each other and send you pictures and shit like that. Like anything that has to do with sex, they like it. They love it. Yep. And the way that all the docuseries and all the like research I did, the way they describe Travis is like he knew that he was. It's like he knew he was kind of toxic, like they were toxic or whatever like that. But it seemed like both of them just couldn't get enough of each other when it came to the sexual part of it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's also too what made their relationship toxic, because he's saying like, no, it's never going to be anything. You're not Mormon. I'm Mormon. You're not. We're not even supposed to be having sex before marriage, and you already giving it up. So even if you were to be Mormon, you already gave it up. Like you're not wife material. And she's sitting here like, but I love you and you're everything to me. And
right.
Yeah, like, so she's just kind of like, but she's trying to be sexy for him. She keeps dyeing her hair blonde for him, I guess, because she thinks that that's what he likes. Stuff like that. But it's like he was leading her on, but not leading her on.
No, he was, I feel like he was 100%. Of course, we don't know, but the way that they describe him in like the docuseries, like you said, I think that he was very honest with her. And I think that she was just in one of those states where it's like, oh, I can change him. Like, he'll see, like, you know, she's like one of those, like, oh, I'll be the one to change him. And like, we're going to live this life or whatever, like together. But I really think Travis was like 100% honest with her. Like, hey, I like what we're doing. We got a good thing going here. I don't know if I even want to get married. And if I do, I'm not getting married to you.
Exactly.
I think he was upfront with her about that, like for sure. And she didn't like that. That's what we're gonna get to.
Yeah, I don't think she liked that.
She didn't like that at all.
And then look at these pictures of them.
I know.
I'm like, oh, look at them. Like, okay, they cute or whatever. See, but it took them a minute to get to that because, like I said, they started off with just being sexual and stuff like that. And then they kind of took a step forward and he actually baptized her in the Mormon church. And he did that, let me see, November of 2006. So remember, they met in September. He baptized her in November.
2 months later?
Yes, because that's how fast she was moving. I think she knew, like, once she found out that he was a devout Mormon and she figured out some of the like key things about being Mormon, I think she was like, if I want to be with him and if I want him to want me, I need to be Mormon. So I don't even think that she had him baptize her for the right reasons.
No, and he probably saw that and was like, I think, because even in the Hulu series, I think it's Hulu or Netflix. I think it's Netflix. It's Netflix. When they were depicting that scene, he was kind of like, are you sure? Like, you know, like this is really what you want to do? Like, and I think even then that was probably a red flag for him. He was like, like, even if you are Mormon, now I don't want you to be Mormon because this is not what you believe. You're really just doing this for me. Like, and I've already told you, I don't care if you're a Mormon or anything. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, like he from the beginning, he only saw her as somebody that could only offer sex to him, basically. Yeah. And he's kind of living a double life where he's a Mormon in the day, but he's a super freak at night. That's kind of the thing that he got going on. And, you know, and that's not necessarily bad, I guess. I mean, I guess it's bad if you're Mormon and you're doing that stuff, I guess. But to me, it's just kind of like, okay, he does professional stuff and does what he's supposed to do during the day. And at nighttime, he likes to cut loose. That's how I think about it. But
I believe like a couple, like, I mean, I'm not trying to victim blame, but I'm just like, he's, like you said, he was living a double life. And I think Jody was more so just like, well, then if that's the case, because she did get into that eventually, like, you know, giving him an ultimatum or whatever. She's just like, either you're going to be a Mormon and be like all the way or you know, like, what is it? You can't be living and then living a certain way with me. Like, I'm your little secret or something. This is why you don't play with women's emotions. They always end up on Snap. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Because almost every episode of Snapped is about a woman snapping, bro.
About a woman snapping.
So
this fella, just be honest, man. You don't want to end up on the first 48. Come on,
shit,
now.
crazy, bro. So let me see. Let me go back to where I was. Okay, so this is the timeline of their relationship. They meet in September 2006. She gets baptized into the Mormon Church November 2006, and they become a couple February of 2007. So just in a few months, they're having sex, getting baptized for the Mormon Church, being in a relationship. Huh?
I said they were moving fast.
They were moving fast.
The time were moving fast.
And but then they broke up June 29th of 2007. So as far as actually being a couple, they only lasted like 4 or 5 months.
Right.
But they only lasted that long because the way they depicted Travis and her knew that they were toxic for each other. They kept breaking up and getting back together. They kept saying crazy things to each other and stuff like that, but then turn around and still having sex with each other. Like, she already had broke into his house one time, and he still let her like stay there, like hang out with him instead of kicking her out. He let her hang out with him, like. And then another time, I guess he started kind of hanging around this lady from his Mormon church. Her name is Mimi Hall. Now y'all keep that name in mind because that's also her. She's also kind of important too, Mimi Hall. So she's actually very important because she might be the reason why he's dead.
No,
she's the reason why.
The reason he's dead, but like,
yeah, I mean, she's kind of the reason why he's dead, but it's not her fault. It ain't like she really did anything. But the way they talk about it in the docuseries is he was having a crush on her, but she didn't really have a crush on him. She just thought of him as a friend, but he was liking on her like that. And they planned a trip or whatever like that. And but other than that, let me get back to what I was saying with Jody. She sent her like some crazy email talking about she was gonna go to hell and some other shit like that, and how she was breaking up a happy home and just some crazy, you know how crazy bitches be. And then and then all of his friends were like, yeah, that Jody chick, she's throwing up all these red flags. You probably shouldn't even be, worried about this girl. You know what I'm saying? So he's kind of realizing like, yeah, I probably shouldn't be with her, but he's so worried about the sex part of it that he's so worried about the sex part of it. They both are just so worried about the sex part of it that I guess they just don't care. But yeah. We're going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to start talking about the actual murder. Okay, and we are back. This is True Crime Tales with Pinky and Tasia, and today we are talking about the case of Travis Alexander and Jodi Arias. So, we've already went into a little background of Travis and Jodi and their relationship. Once again, this is Jodi and Travis.
They were a cute couple. This is really sad.
Yeah, exactly. So what I just posted right now, what it was up right now, is one of the crime reports from one of the head detectives. We will get back to that in a second. So from the clip that I showed you guys in the beginning, he was obviously murdered and he was found in the shower, but they estimated that he was stabbed 27 times. and he was shot in the head.
That's
which is crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So this is what led up to that. So first of all, he was murdered on June 9th, 2008. So this is basically like a year after they've broken up. Like they officially had broken up in 2007.
Right.
But they were still actively having sex with each other and stuff like that. All the stuff I was talking about, all that stuff was leading up to the day of his death. Her sneaking into his house in the middle of the night, sending emails to his friends saying that they finna go to hell and shit like that.
Yeah, she was some crazy shit.
Yeah, she was doing some crazy stuff, slashing his tires and stuff like that. Like, she was just acting like a crazy ex-girlfriend. And not even that, too. During their whole relationship, she lived in California. He lived in Mesa, Arizona.
I was going to say, he was breaking into his house. She was driving
from Southern California to Arizona to sneak in this man's house in the middle of the night. Crazy. And when they broke up, she thought it would be okay to move to Mesa, Arizona, where he's at, almost like it was going to make them get back together or something like that. So, but she eventually ended up moving back to Southern California to live with her grandparents. I guess she realized while she was there in Mesa that it just wasn't going to work out. But her moving there to Mesa for the short time that she was there, that's when she started peeping about Mimi Hall and her and Travis's relationship and how they were kind of being friendly with each other and stuff like that. So from Mimi's point of view, I guess she was like, he was really just a friend. They weren't really fucking around, but who knows if they really were or not? Who knows? But
no, because
exactly, we don't know.
With him. Right. She was Mormon for real. She was like, we're not
She was gonna be like the perfect wife for Travis.
You gotta marry me before you get this. So that's what attracted him to her, because he was like, this is like wifey material. As far as Jody, that I feel like she was just someone to like feel his sexual
needs,
his needs and stuff like that.
Yeah. So like I said, Jody went back to live with her grandparents in Southern California. But while she's there, this is when the detectives and stuff kind of speculate that this is when she started to plan Jody's murder. When she started to plan Travis's murder, because there was a break-in at her grandparents' house, but they only stole some cash and a gun.
Right.
And later it came out that was the gun used to shoot Travis in the head. So it's like they feel like she staged that burglary at her grandparents' house just so she could have a weapon and wouldn't have to pay for a weapon.
Right.
So, and then when she did that, and then I guess like a couple weeks later, she rented a car and she drove all the way to Mesa, Arizona to Travis's house. She broke into this nigga house again. Yeah. He did not know that she was finna be there. He woke up and was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" type shit. And she was like, exactly, like, it was crazy. Like, so she was just like, she was like, "I missed you, da, da, da." And I guess she's making it seem like she wants to have sex with him. Like, she's making it seem like this is gonna be just another night of having sex. Like, and because and she's used to doing stuff like that, crossing the boundaries, and he just be letting her.
Cool with it. He be letting her.
Yeah, so it's like, in her mind, it's probably not even breaking in at this point. It's probably just going over to his house. But she literally kind of broke into this nigga house. He was asleep. And so she basically woke him up. And of course, they was just like, okay, we finna do what it do. Remember, I told y'all, me and Tasia told y'all, they like to take pictures. Or at least she do. So she has a camera. Yeah. So she has a camera, and she's telling him to like get naked and pose sexy and shit like that. So they're in a room doing that, but then it leads to the bathroom because they ended up having sex and all this other stuff. And I guess he wanted to clean up and shit, like clean himself off and shit. So he was like, "I'm finna go take a shower." She's like, "Okay," and she's still taking pictures of him, and he's in the shower and stuff like that. And whatever, washing himself off, and she's telling him to pose. And this is the last photo that was. Oh, I thought I loaded it on here.
Because while she's looking for that, mind y'all, while before they were in the bed and they were taking all these pictures, he's in the shower going to clean up. Nene Hall texts him and is like, "Hey, I want to come over."
Yeah.
Because he was trying to win her back. Like he had been I think he had with Jody again, and she found out about it. She thought that like they were done. So while they're cleaning up, like while he's in the shower cleaning himself off or whatever, she texts him and is like, "Hey, we went pause." She texts him and hold on.
Yes, and we are back.
Little hiccup. But I was saying that she texts him and it's like, "Hey, I want to come over. I think I overreacted to, you having sex with Jody. I want to come over. I want to talk." Jody's now texting her off of his phone saying like, "No, I'm with Jody. I just slept with her last night. Leave me alone, you dumb, stupid female." Like literally, this is what she's texting this girl while he's in the shower. So once she finds that out, she was like, I think Nene Hall says something along the lines of like, "I can't believe you're back with Jody after you told me like you'll never be with her. She's just like nothing to you. Like you told me that this girl means nothing to you. You're never going to marry her. You're never going to do this." Mind you, before they had sex, like he was telling her like, "I love you. I'm sorry, this, that, and the third." So now Jody gets this text message from this girl and it's like, what? Like, homie, are you in? Then she starts proceeding to take more pictures of this man in the shower. So did you find the picture? The last picture?
Yes, I found the picture. So this is the last photo that was taken of him.
That is sick and crazy.
It's creepy.
Look at his eyes, bro. Look at his eyes. She's literally telling him to pose.
Do you think that he knew something was off?
He had to. Look at his eyes. Like he had to know.
And in both of the documentaries I watched, they depicted as him not even wanting to really take the pictures. He really just wanted to take a shower, and she's just like, "No, pose." And then she tells him to sit on the shower floor, like, and I guess pose and shit like that on the shower floor. And that's when she like started stabbing him. Yep. Like, and she didn't just stab him; she stabbed him and slit his throat from here to here. Like, what? Like, okay, so this is going to be graphic, but this is him in the shower. So as you see, that's crazy. You see how she slid him from ear to ear.
Bro, he doesn't even look the same. Like, he literally looks unrecognizable, like low-key.
Unrecognizable from this photo
to that
to this. And this is some more pictures of like his stab wounds and stuff like that, and like the shower where they found him or whatever like that with all the blood. So you see all the stabs he had in his back.
Right.
The way they made it seem in the docuseries, when he was on the floor posing, he was like, I guess he turned around or something. Something he turned his back toward her and she started stabbing him.
Yeah. Because he was get away. Like I mean, of course, when you first stab somebody, they're not gonna die on impact. They're gonna be up. You know what I'm saying? But the more that she kept going and she kept going, like that whole bathroom was, you could tell that man was fighting for his life because it was blood everywhere. Like it was blood everywhere. And then even after,
like this was
it
the
was,
hallway, like the sink and the hallway and stuff like that. Cause he ended up like, I guess because he was on the floor, he was trying to crawl out of the bathroom while she was stabbing him and shit like that. So he did kind of get out the bathroom and ended up like going through the hallway. Well, not going through the hallway, but whatever, however he got out the bathroom, when she killed him and finished basically killing him, she dragged him through the room, through the hallway, back into the damn tub.
now I have a question when we get to the trial and all that stuff. I have a question about that, about him being drugged into the, because here we're talking about Jodi is what y'all show the picture of her again, like how little she is. She's literally like this young woman. You mean to tell me
that she drug this motherfucker? Girl, that was one of the questions I had too. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm like, do you think she acted alone?
I don't think she did.
I don't think she did because
I don't think she did because how she dragged his body and it was dead weight because he was basically dead when she drug him in there.
And if you go back and read some of I know you have the detective notes and stuff like that, the incident report. Mm-hmm. But when you go back, there was a man that was claiming that he drove with Jodi up to Mesa. Like, and he was saying like, no, I helped her. Like, I didn't know. She just told me that this was an ex-boyfriend and she just needs to get some stuff back. So they're like, this whole time, you sat in the house. Like, that's what the detectives were trying to get. Like, you sat in the house while they were having sex, quote unquote, and just, you didn't say nothing. You didn't think anything crazy was going on. He's like, yeah,
exactly. I did. Exactly.
And Jodi still, she says it. She's like, no, I acted by myself. Like, I don't know that man. I don't know who he is. I did this by myself. But I don't believe that. I don't believe it
either.
The way that crime scene is set up, no. She had help dragging his body. I'm gonna stand on that. I don't care. She had help. Too small. She's too small, bro. She Hulk.
So he was murdered he was attacked and murdered June 4th. But they didn't find his body until June 9th. So he was dead in there for 5 days before they found his body. And he was found because Mimi Hall and him was supposed to take that trip to Cancun with the other Mormon people with his job. It wasn't just a him and her thing. They were going with some people. But he wasn't answering the phone with nobody. He missed some calls for work. They wondering where he at work. She wondering where he at because they're supposed to be going to his work trip or whatever. So she starts calling. She goes there, starts banging on the door, ringing the doorbell. Ain't nobody answering. So she's like, nah. She was like, I got a bad feeling about this type shit. Mm-hmm. She finally got a hold of one of the roommates, and they gave her the code to the door to the garage or whatever like that. So she was able to get into the house. But when she got into the house, she could smell something funny, but she couldn't put her finger on it. And they ended up running into, because she had like 2 roommates. And one of the roommates was there, but he said that he was asleep and that the TV was loud, and that's why he didn't hear them banging and ringing the doorbell, which I feel like was stupid.
How are you in the house? Smell that
for 5 days, and your roommate is in his room dead.
I know niggas be living. Some men be living nasty, but bro, for you to not a dead body, like blood stinks by itself. So a dead body in like 5 days.
And no, you didn't hear nothing from this man or nothing. You just didn't think nothing of it. So he basically like, oh well, let's go check in his room. If Travis is here, he'll be in his room. Right when they opened up the room door, the smell hit them like a ton of bricks. They was like, oh hell no, like something definitely ain't right. And that's when they saw him dead in the shower. So they called 911. The operator is like, okay, what's going on? She was like, we came to our friend's house, we couldn't get a hold of him, and we think he's dead. Like he's in the shower and there's blood everywhere. We're pretty sure that he's dead. Yeah. And then the 911 operator was like, well, do you know anybody that would harm him? Like would do this to him? And she was like, yes, his ex-girlfriend.
They knew off rip. Everybody knew. They're like, no, it was her because boom, boom, boom. These incidences leading up to it. She's crazy. She's a lunatic.
Crazy, bro. She's crazy. So this is one of the entries from her journal. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and read it. And this is the day after he was found. So Tuesday, 2:50 a.m. ish, June 10th. Dan Freeman just called me. I was excited to hear from him. I immediately began to say how I might be making a trip out there soon, and he softly responded with, "Yes, I think you're going to have to make a trip out here soon." Then he told me it was about Travis, but he couldn't really tell me anything. He just said something was wrong. I don't know what's going on, and I need some answers. I'm praying that there has been I'm praying that there's something about a mistake. I tried calling his phone, nothing for the first time ever. I've called, his voicemail box was full. For some reason, Disneyland keeps flashing in my mind at night. Maybe because that's the last time we were there. I called Brent's number over and over. Nothing. I'm going crazy and I feel helpless being all the way here in California. Like,
How
so
she did this to throw the detectives off, to make it seem like she was trying to write her an alibi, a little alibi or something, like, so they could say like she made this diary entry. Because okay, when I make a diary entry, I'm not putting the time. I don't know about you.
exactly. Like, why she talking about 12:50 a.m. ish?
Girl, you look suspicious. You look
No, and what she don't realize is too, because I don't know if you saw this part, but she, first of all, the detectives hadn't even called her yet.
right.
She called them
Yep.
talking about, well, I'm his, you know what I'm saying, me and him were good friends, and if you guys need any help with anything or need any information, why are you even calling them? And what she don't realize is all his friends already told the detective, we think that this girl did it. And now
Right.
you calling. Now you throwing up all the red flags. They already was looking at you, but now they really looking at you.
That is the craziest thing. Whenever we're talking about or like looking at these cases, the people that be wanting to help the most
Are the ones that did it.
you did it, or you know something, or you had something to do with it. Like, that does not make you look less suspicious or not like a suspect. If anything, it makes you look even more suspicious. Literally.
Exactly. No, it does.
Crazy.
So let's see. So as far as like evidence and stuff like that, before we get to the trial, because like I said, they so now after she called them and started offering her help and stuff, they start doing their digging and getting their information on her because they want to question her, but they want to get information and stuff on her first before they actually question her. So
Right.
they gather some evidence. What she doesn't know is that that camera that she was using to take pictures of them, of both of them naked and shit like that, caught some of the murder. It was still taking pictures. I don't know, some way, somehow, it was still taking pictures, and it took pictures of like her dragging the body, but you
Yeah.
can't really see her. You only see her leg, like her foot and her
Yeah.
pants.
Yeah.
And but it's still taking pictures. Instead of her taking the camera with her, I guess she thought all she needed to do was throw it in a washing machine and it was just gonna wash all the evidence away. Like, which was stupid as hell. Like,
You think this through all the way to the end. Clearly, is why you know she was just going based off of emotion. This was a crime of passion, like
it really
literally.
was. It really was.
She really wasn't thinking.
And so she didn't take the memory card or nothing like that out. So they recovered the memory card and they did what they had to do to recover the pictures off of it. So they got that. They got the camera with the pictures on it. Okay, and she was denying about being at his home, but there was a bloody handprint on the wall of the bathroom that had her DNA and his DNA in it. So it's kind of like your DNA can't be in this bloody handprint unless you were there.
Right.
And because you don't live there, your DNA, it might be in some parts of the house, but you don't live there. So your DNA is not going to be everywhere around that house. Your DNA would not be on his wall. You don't live there or nothing like that.
In a whole year.
Exactly.
Girl.
So exactly. And remember when I told you, when I was telling them that they would have these little arguments and say things to each other, real hurtful things to each other, but then turn around and have sex with each other. One of the things that he said to her was that she was a whore. But one of the things that she said about him was that he was a pedophile. And she even started sending him pedophile rehab shit in the mail and shit like that. Yes. So that was so keep that in mind. So when she already kind of trying to start this narrative that he was some type of pedophile and that he was seeking help by sending him brochures and shit like that. So of course, when they're questioning her and stuff like that, first she's denying ever being there, but then they put all the evidence in front of her, like, we got the camera, we got you on the camera, we got your DNA and a bloody fingerprint. So they basically telling her, like, look, we got you, we just kind of just need you to say it now, but we still got you. So she's saying that she wasn't there, blah blah blah. Then she starts to change her story. She changed her story and then said that two people were there, a male and a female, and that they attacked him and that she tried to stop him, but I guess it didn't work, obviously, because he still ended up dead. But then the officer was like, why didn't they hurt you? Why don't you have no bruises on you?
Right.
Why didn't they kill you? So then, of course, I guess she realized that story was stupid. 2 days later, they interview her again. Now she has a whole different story. Now her story is that it was self-defense, and that she said that Alexander was abusive and stuff like that, and I guess also too abusive because she knew his secret about being a pedophile. So that's what she was telling the detective and stuff like that. And I guess because of whatever argument they had about him being a pedophile led him to like try to attack her, and she just was like, I need to defend myself, and she ended up killing him. But it's just kind of like, so you stabbed him 27 times, you slit him from ear to ear, and then you shot him. So it's kind of like, how did you know what I mean? Like, how is all of this self-defense?
It's overkill, and it was a crime of passion. Most women who commit crimes or murders or anything like that, they normally either shoot their lover in the head while they're asleep, or they stab, because stabbing is just like, it doesn't take a whole lot of power. Like, and women naturally are not as strong as men, so catching them asleep, of course, but you know what I'm saying, something like that, or even stabbing and stuff like that. That's just showing how mad, like, women be getting mad. They be like,
yeah, like, for real, yeah.
That's why they know, like, different things. It's like anytime a woman commits a crime, it's normally stabbing, and then they sometimes
poison
body. Yeah, they try to like cover it up the body, or they're like, oh, because I care about this person still in some weird, sick, twisted way. They're like, oh, I still care. I don't want.
She didn't even cover him. She put his naked body back in the shower. She dragged his naked body back into the shower.
That's crazy. Shorty was going, and the crazy thing that just sticks out to me the most is just like, she could have walked away. She could have just like slashed his tire, like keyed his car on the way out or something.
Because she already did that before. She already slashed his tires before. She could have just did it again.
But the text message that Shorty sent wasn't even that bad. Like,
it wasn't.
It was everything that he had already said to her face multiple times. It's like, bro, you really just snapped. Like, you really.
But I guess it made it real to her because she was saying it.
And I think that could have been it too, but because it was coming from the woman that Travis wanted to be with at that time.
And the way they made it seem like everybody knew that he had a crush on Mimi Hall.
Yeah.
Everybody knew that was the woman that he planned on actually making his wife, because he felt like she was the perfect Mormon woman. Everybody knew this, apparently.
That's crazy.
So it's just kind of like, but they also all knew that Jody was crazy. All his friends was like, no, that's not the one, brother. Like, bro, that's not the one. Like, she crazy. She be doing all this weird shit. Like, and apparently all the friends just was getting a weird vibe from her anyway. And both of the docuseries that I watched, all the friends were saying how she would just always be super clingy on him, or anytime he would try to even say hello to another female while she was right there, she would be all weird and shit. So they just knew that something was off about her, and they kept trying to tell him, but he was just like, yeah, but she's so good in the bed though.
Like, bro, you don't even know. Like, bro, that's what gets me. See, thinking with the wrong
I'm saying, like, what? So, as y'all know, obviously Jody did get convicted. So she was arrested on July 15, 2008, and charged with first-degree murder. The trial began in January 2013 and was highly publicized, drawing widespread media attention. The case featured extensive coverage of the relationship, graphic violence, and testimony. Arias testified in her defense, reiterating her claim of self-defense. However, the prosecution argued that the murder was premeditated and driven by jealousy and anger. And I do believe that it was premeditated too, because you used the gun that was stolen from your grandparents' house.
Yeah.
You drove all the way from Southern California to Mesa, Arizona.
It was definitely
you sat there. It's made an excuse of 1.5 sex and how you want to. Now I don't know where the sexy pictures came in at. I don't know why that was even part of the plan. You already broke into his house. You already started having sex. So I don't know why she felt like. I guess she used it as an excuse to to help put his guard down, maybe, or something like that.
Maybe, and that's another reason why it's premeditated, because you thought about it.
Yeah, you thought about all this shit. So it's like, shit, just from the drive all the way from California to Mesa, Arizona, you should have realized on that trip, because that was hours. That hour-long trip, you should have turned around and be like, no, I shouldn't be doing this. Yeah. Like, so I would have argued that too. If I was a prosecutor, I would have argued that too, that you had plenty of time to rethink this and not end up doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So she was convicted of first-degree murder. Oh shit. But I don't think she got the death penalty though.
I don't think she did either. I think she got life.
That was the thing, because they all knew she was guilty. That wasn't the problem with the jury. The jury just couldn't decide if she should get life or if she should get
the death penalty. I think she without parole.
Yeah. So I think that she's now. Is she gonna get granted parole? I don't think so.
No,
I really don't think so. So, oh wait, let me see. I
don't think she gets granted parole at all.
Yeah. It says Arias was indicted by a grand jury on a first-degree murder charge on July 9, 2008, and arrested at her grandparents' home on July 15th. Well, of course, she pled not guilty, but she still, What's crazy is the officers even called in her parents to talk to her parents. And they was just like,
we don't know what's going on with her.
But I also feel like they kind of told the tea on their daughter, because she was like, because the dad for sure was like, yeah, when she was 18, she got caught with marijuana. Why are you telling them all this? Like, if this, like, look, if I have a kid and they somehow end up murdering somebody, I'm not saying that I'm gonna just be like, okay, they should get off, or I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if they start asking me questions, nigga, I don't know anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing bad about my kid. If I'm gonna tell you anything, it's gonna be the good stuff.
Right.
Like, y'all not gonna put him in jail because of me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like they kind of told information that they probably should have just kept to themselves. Like,
He was going to jail regardless.
I mean, I know she was going to jail regardless, but that was one of the things that I was like, dang, y'all really finna snitch on your daughter like that?
Right. I think the reason that this case got so much attention was, one, because of the way that she committed the murder, and two, because of how absolutely attractive she was. And it's like, bro, you could have just went and got another man.
And did you see her interviews where she was like fixing her makeup and stuff like that with her jailhouse uniform on? They were doing interviews and she kept like using a makeup brush to fix her makeup and stuff like that. And she smiled in her mugshot. Like, that shit is crazy. But let's see. Yeah, so basically it comes down to her feeling like, if I can't have you, nobody can.
Right.
That's what I feel like it boils down to. She felt like she was about to lose him to somebody. He kept saying he didn't want her. So she killed him.
That's sad.
Very sad. Very sad. And it's sad too that on YouTube, when I watched one of the docuseries, that the people in the comments were saying, well, he should have been more clear about not wanting a relationship. Like, how much more clear do he gotta be?
Where does he have to get? No, both ways. If I already told you that I don't see myself marrying you, then you, as a person, have some decorum. You could have took that and been like, okay, well, this man's never gonna marry me, even though I've done baptized myself into his religion. Like, you could have took that and just been like, okay, no, the
only reason why I feel like, the only thing I feel towards him is that he should have, once she started doing weird shit like breaking into his house, emailing his friends, popping up at places, I would have stopped having sex with her. I would have cut ties and stopped having sex. But for some reason, I guess the pussy was just so good that he just had to keep messing with her, even with her doing those crazy things.
Because it's almost like you're telling her it's okay and this is something that you like. So it invites that toxicity into y'all's relationship. You know what I'm saying?
But that still doesn't mean that he deserves to die.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, like, it still don't mean that he deserves, like, nobody deserves to die, you know what I'm saying? Especially if they just trying to get some pussy. I don't think they should die. You know what I'm saying?
Signs, but absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like it could have been prevented somewhat. Yeah. It could have been kind of prevented. But but so that's all about Travis Alexander and Jodi Arias. Y'all can check out the docuseries on Netflix and on Hulu about Jodi Arias, and there's an ABC 2020 episode of the case as well, if y'all want to check that out. Tasia, do you want to go ahead and give them a sneak peek of what we'll be talking about next? That will be, what date is that going to be?
That is, let me look, because I think we'll be into July by then. Yeah, so July 5th will be live back here, probably on our True Crime Tales Instagram. Make sure you guys go follow us too, at True Crime Tales __ and make sure any cases that you want us to cover or anything that you want us to talk about on here, send them to that Instagram. Okay, send it to that Instagram. But on the 5th, we will be covering the Grim Sleeper, who is a notorious serial killer he went on a run from 1984 to 2007. When he was apprehended by the strongest woman in the world. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, y'all gonna get a 2-for-1 the next True Crime Tales, because it's actually a pretty interesting case. Like, absolutely
interesting as fuck. When she was giving me some of the details, I was like, yes, bitch, we definitely gotta talk about this.
But nah, y'all make sure y'all tune in. That's July 5th. I don't know, depending on my work schedule. We were a little late today, and that's my fault. I had got off work, but no, y'all make sure.
It's all good. We still got it done.
Got it done, okay?
Okay.
We got our first live in the books. Okay, so yeah, if y'all want to hear our very first episode, go over to Station Head on my profile, Tasia Renee, and check out the show Brenda Burke, Under the Bridge. We got this one over here with Jodi Arias, sex and money and love and lust and all that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So we want to thank y'all so much. Once again, follow us at True Crime Tales __ on IG. And we are out of here, baby. Bye.